OIC officials assess encroachment on Battle Hardin and feeder roads under its project. Gambians have raised concern over the deportation of dozens of migrants from Europe.
Challenges the
And
government's
Citizens
handling
Alliance
of
Dr.
corruption.
Cisse says the borough administration has failed Gambians. These and more coming on Gambia24. Stay tuned. Good evening, you're watching Gambia24 News with me, Mariama Cham. Thanks for joining us, and now the news. The Organization of Islamic Conference, Gambia Secretariat and its partners have begun a property assessment and valuation exercise along the Battle Hardin Highway and identified 50-kilometer urban roads within the Greater Banjul area. Today, the team has embarked on an assessment exercise to identify properties that the road construction will affect and require information relating to land ownership to ensure that the proper expropriation process is followed. Amature has the rest of that.
The OIC assessment team visits Battle Hardin Highway and a few other feeder roads within the project to identify properties that encroach the roads. Evaluation of the properties will be done by the Department of Physical Planning so that owners can be compensated. Yaya Sanyang is a member of the project management team of OIC and he explains the compensation process.
There will be compensation, and the compensation will be very reasonable and adequate. But it is going to be only for structures that are legal on the bova. You know, there are so many squatters. You don't expect to be paid when you are not legal there. But all the structures that are along this Battle Hardin Highway that are legal by way of permission, they will be compensated.
Keba Trawale, a technician from the National Roads Authority, explains the measurement needed for the feeder roads.
The minimum cross-section that we have, the width is 14 meters. So any right-of-way that is less than 14 meters, the aborting properties have encouraged. Okay? So we measured this right-of-way, we have 11.6 meters, which means it is less than the minimum cross-section we have. Then we mark on both sides, showing that there is an encroachment. Physical planning then will take the coordinates of those properties marked. When the center line is set out on the ground by the contractor, then we will determine the exact area that has encroached.
The Battle Hardin Highway will have 40-meter width measurement, while the feeder roads will have minimum 14-meter width. The roads will be constructed with asphalt and few with concrete. The work and execution of the 50 million road project was to start by March 2021 and be completed within 12 months, but this assessment exercise may delay that. OIC was initially slated for 2019, but the Gambia dropped plans to host the event due to inadequate infrastructure. The country is now going to host the event in June 2022. For iAfrica TV, I am Omar Ahmad Toure.
OIC earlier today embarked on a property assessment and valuation exercise on the identified roads within the Greater Banjul area. Now, Gambians have raised concern over the deportation of dozens of migrants from several European countries. Many blame Barrow's administration for this harsh move and its failure to update the citizenry on the signed deportation agreements with other countries. Our reporter Ndaisise engages the public on the issue and she now reports.
Irregular migration is a phenomenon which affected many countries in the continent, including the Gambia. The lack of access to employment opportunities among Gambian youth is widely cited as a major contributing factor to irregular migration. According to an IOM migration data, Gambia has been a country of destination for migrants from the West African sub-region for decades. In the last 20 years, Gambia has also become a significant country of origin for migrants traveling to other countries, mainly to Europe. Last year, 20 Gambians were deported from Germany, and details surrounding their repatriation still remain unknown. The frequent deportation of young people back to country has fueled concern from many Gambians, including Sadio Konate, who blames Barrow's government for being silent over this matter.
Barrow's government is deporting our children that we are having here in abroad. We are selling here in the market, and the little money we have, that is what we are using to send our children to back way. Now we are seeing them sending back our children as slaves. Is that right? There is nothing in the Gambia here. Everything now is expensive.
The deported migrants from Germany were said to be on the heavy police escort with handcuffs in their hands until they arrived in the Gambia. Bakari Kamara also lamented over the deportation of the migrants, saying the government devised measures to deal with the mass repatriation of Gambians.
This is not right because our children are the ones on this journey. They are the ones helping us. Our monthly salaries cannot solve anything for us. Now, they want to deport them back to the Gambia. This is very wrong.
Irregular migration in Africa is mainly propelled by economic crisis, individual ambitions, political and armed violence. There are reports that German authorities are planning to deport at least 20 Gambians every month. President Barrow's government is yet to clear the air as to whether it has signed any agreement with Berlin to facilitate the deportation of these migrants, leaving many Gambians worried of the situation. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
Gambians blames the Barrow government for failing to update the citizenry on the signed deportation agreements with other countries. Now we move to Citizens Alliance, whereby the party says that the Barrow administration has failed Gambians based on issues raised by its standard bearer, Dr. Ismail Cisse, ranging from corrupt practices, among others. Dr. Cisse made these remarks on Friday during its monthly press conference. Binta Jallow attended the press conference and she now reports.
Citizens Alliance Party, one of the newest political parties in the Gambia, founded in 2019, says it is formed on the ideas of democracy. The party has promised to update Gambians and engage the media on current issues affecting the country. During its monthly press conference on Friday, the flag bearer of the party, Dr. Ismail Cisse, raises concerns over the high level of corruption in the Gambia. Dr. Cisse challenges the government's handling of corruption allegations in the country.
Corruption is a big problem in this country. Recently, a report released on January 28 by CPI, that is CPI, Corruption Perception Index 2020. It says that Gambia is 102 least corrupt nation out of 180 countries. What does this mean? It means we have dropped from 96 now to 102, which is back from 2019. So there has been no improvement insofar as our corruption indicators are concerned. So we've dropped the ladder a bit. Now, this presents a very gloomy picture about corruption in this country. With the Gambia consistently scoring 37 points over the past 3 years, the country continues to be ranked among the most corrupt countries in the world. And what baffles us is that we have not seen any or heard any strategy, any coherent strategy by this government to fight corruption. Obviously, why is this the case? Because there have been many allegations of corruption in the Gambia and nothing has been done about it. One of the allegations, and also the government has not been serious in fighting corruption, because we have seen how they've appointed people back into the system who have a history of aiding and abetting corruption in the past regime, as established by the Janneh Commission.
President Adama Barrow has extended the mandate of ECOMIC soldiers in the Gambia. The intervention of ECOMIC soldiers in the Gambia was to resolve a constitutional crisis during the December 2016 presidential election. Dr. Ismail Cisse describes their further stay in the country as a threat to the nation.
It's the issue of ECOMIC. It's been a very contentious issue. Now, in their last heads of states meeting, ECOWAS decided to extend the mandate of ECOMIC for a period of 12 months up to December 2021, with also to transform the mission into a police mission after 2021. The police that will come from Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Ghana, and Senegal. These are the countries that will contribute to this police mission. We think that this is not a prudent idea, it's not a wise idea, in the first place, and it is unfortunate that this will really undermine national security in this country. It will also undermine our sovereignty. It doesn't also make sense that Gambia is sending troops to keep the peace in other parts of the world like Darfur, and we are sending troops from countries that Gambia is more stable than. Bringing police from Ivory Coast and Togo for me is an insult to Gambia.
According to Ismail Cisse, CA has embarked on a sensitization in the rural areas to educate citizens to understand the importance of voting. CA's flag bearer, however, questioned the financial expenses of NPP, saying President Barrow has not been truthful to the Gambians about the brand new pickups and cars piling on the soils of the Gambia. For Africa TV News, Binta Jallo of the Gambia.
Citizens Alliance Dr. Cisse says the Barrow administration has failed Gambians in all aspects. We will now go with a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the rest of the news.
Gambia may be the smallest country in Africa, but it will host the second largest gathering of world leaders in 2022. To successfully host the OIC Summit and put the Gambia on the global stage, the government of the Gambia set up OIC Gambia to mobilize resources for the implementation of key development and infrastructure projects on a scale never seen before. 20 new roads will be constructed across the country, and the Bertel-Harding Highway will be expanded into a dual carriage highway of 2 lanes on each side from the airport to Sting Corner. All people in the Gambia deserve clean water and a constant flow of electricity. Therefore, an entirely new water system will be constructed, including new transmission and distribution networks to meet the increasing demand. In order to provide a more reliable supply of electricity, the OIC Gambia project will replace and double the capacity of the NAWEC transformers and overhead electric cables. We will equip the police with modern apparatus and technical training in an effort to keep the streets of the Gambia safe. By building the largest international conference center in the region, a 5-star hotel with state-of-the-art facilities, first-class mobility services, and improving the VVIP experience at the Banjul International Airport, OIC Gambia will position the Gambia as the leading conference destination in West Africa. With our partners in the tourism sector, we will reinforce the preeminent position of our nation, the Smiling Coast, as a go-to destination. The OIC Gambia will create strategic partnerships that calls for the involvement of local talent and businesses as a matter of requirement. In short, OIC Gambia projects will create jobs, boost commerce, accelerate growth, improve the urban outlook and lifestyles of many families across the Gambia. So let's support the OIC Gambia as it prepares us for one of the biggest global events. OIC Gambia, building today for a better tomorrow.
Welcome back, and now to the rest of the news. The leader of the United Democratic Party, Ousainou Darboe, on Thursday revealed the suspension of its political programs till May 2021. This followed the government's suspension of all forms of public gatherings in the country, which will be effective on 8 March 2021. However, UDP's party leader calls for an immediate lockdown before 28 February 2021 due to the resurgence in COVID-19 cases. Now, meanwhile, Ousainou Darboe urges Gambians to sensitize each other on moral obligations as patriotic citizens. Here is an excerpt.
The leadership of the United Democratic Party has been monitoring the progress on the COVID upsurge in this country. And being advised on the current situation, the UDP has taken the responsible decision to postpone its well-organized fundraising event until after the Christian Lent period and after the Muslim Ramadan. And we propose to reschedule to Saturday, May 22nd, inshallah. We take note of the government decision for a national lockdown from the 8th of March. I do not see any justification why this should be effected on March 8th. A UDP government would take a responsible decision to order an immediate lockdown, and ask the government of the Gambia to do so now. There is no time to waste, and we cannot continue to be playing with the lives of the Gambian people just for some political expediency. We cannot afford to do that. And for this reason, I think it is right that the government should now really declare a shutdown immediately and no longer and not wait any longer, because as you wait longer, the more damage, the more the virus has the opportunity of spreading and spreading very extensively.
Now joining me live is UDP spokesperson Almami Funding Tal to help expand on the matter. Mr. Tal, what led to the sudden suspension of all your political events?
I'm not hearing you clearly. I'm sorry. If you can repeat the question.
Yes, I said what led to the sudden suspension of your political activities?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you. I don't know.
Mr. Tal, are you hearing me?
Hearing you, yes.
Yes, the question is what led to the sudden suspension of your political activities?
It is as a result of the spike and the rising cases of COVID-19 and credible talk of a second wave and different variants in the coronavirus crisis. I mean, it's not a sudden decision. It's a decision that has been done with a lot of deliberation so as to understand how best we can participate in reducing the opportunities for this virus to be spread amongst our population. So it's a well thought out plan based on activities that we had planned for at the beginning of the year. So the planning of this event, the fundraising event, was done based on the information that was available to us at that time. So in the final analysis, really, I think it's about taking responsibility for the lives of Gambians, and every time that the Gambia needs it, the United Democratic Party is ready and willing to sacrifice, because this is going to cost us a lot financially and most importantly.
So, Mr. Tal, hope this move will not kill the spirit of the UDP supporters with regards to the suspension of your upcoming fundraising.
No, I mean, our supporters are patriotic Gambians, and they put the lives of their compatriots more at value than anything else. Everybody understands that if you have an outbreak like this, and the evidence is incontrovertible, everybody understands this, and like I said, I mean, we know it is going to cost us financially, but the lives of Gambians are better than any amount of money that we could have made or will make out of this thing. When the situation stabilizes, now that vaccines are out, I'm sure sooner or later we will flatten the curve and turn the tide. I think, I mean, if everybody is as responsible as the UDP, I think we can beat this crisis fairly soon.
So if other parties go about their activities without heeding government's call for suspension of gatherings, will you also do so?
No, I mean, I think, it is very important that we act collectively on this crisis, because this doesn't discriminate against a party A or party B. I mean, the disease is it's all over the world. It's a global pandemic, and it is extremely important for us to be cautious, to be following all the guidelines, making sure that we are doing everything right together as one nation, because talking from a partisan point of view during a pandemic like this is quite, it's not only dangerous, it does not make any sense to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tal. That was Almami Funding Tal, the spokesperson of the United Democratic Party, on their suspension of their political activities till May. And now, still with the news. Ferry Service experienced setbacks in operations as brown haze hangs in the air, blurring the view on Thursday. Kunta Kinte Ferry experienced some delay in operations as the ferry missed its track for over an hour as a result of the turbulent weather conditions brought by the dust. Amal Chure has more.
On Wednesday, 3 boats carrying people and goods left Banjul for Bara but lost direction and had to be rescued by fire and rescue service. The journey between Banjul and Bara usually takes 30 minutes, but the intensity of the haze storm has caused delays as the ferry takes close to an hour before reaching its destination. Seni Jallow was a passenger on board Kunta Kinte when it left Bara for Banjul.
For the ferry, it is the change in climate that makes it difficult. I went to Bara in the morning, but there is too much dust on the way because the climate has changed, and that makes the ferry lose its path. The journey takes about 20 to 30 minutes, but today it takes about an hour because I boarded the ferry at 6 and it is now already 7.
Aliuba, another passenger traveling from Dakar, says the journey was a hard experience as he has waited long for ferry's arrival at the Bara end.
It was very hard on us because I spent so much time waiting for the ferry. We waited long for the ferry, and before we boarded the ferry, it was very hard, but I would say it is because of the large crowd. I'm coming all the way from Dakar since morning, but when I came on board, Alhamdulillah, no one was left behind. Yes, everyone came.
In October last year, ferry operations between Banjul and Bara halted for 30 days as the management installed new landers for the terminal. But even after this, ferry service remains a Herculean task. At the moment, Johe and Kanilai ferries are not in full operation, leaving Kunta Kinte as the only active transport. Haze particles can result in acute symptoms such as cough, shortness of breath, and feeling of tiredness and weakness. Exposure to the haze can lead to symptoms of bronchitis and a higher incidence of lung cancer. It is best to stay indoors during the hazy situations or wear masks outdoors to help reduce inhalation of particulate matter. For iAfrica TV, I am Omar Ahmad Toure.
The ferry services faced some setbacks on Thursday due to the turbulent weather condition. Now, the opposition United Democratic Party leader, lawyer Usainu Dabo, has reaffirmed his party's commitment to national development as he sends an independence message to Gambian people. Our reporter Binta Jallo tells us more.
In his message to the nation as Gambia marks 56 years of nationhood, Usainu Dabo reveals his party's preparedness ahead of the December 2021 upcoming elections. Dabo also outlined UDP's plans to improve the lives of Gambians, considering the current economic struggle citizens are confronted with due to the bad facilities, resulting to many people risking their lives in the Mediterranean Sea.
My message to you all today is a message of renewed hope, a message of unity, a message of peace, a message of oneness and togetherness, and a message of patriotism above all else. Fellow Gambians, each day we hear the news of our sisters and daughters losing their lives while giving life. Each day we hear of our sons and daughters dying in foreign lands, being deported back home unceremoniously, or drowning because they dared to cross the Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea to look for greener pastures. Each day, we hear the cries of our mothers, our wives, our sisters about the high cost of living and the inability to feed their children. And each day, we see our sons and daughters cursing each other, swearing at each other, discriminating against each other on tribal and religious lines. Never in the history of our homeland have we endured such polarization as in the past few years. Ours was a close-knit society of tolerance, a society of sutra, and a society of social cohesion. Some of us have been privileged to have a taste of what that social cohesion and social inclusiveness was and how it felt. Unfortunately, our children and grandchildren have not been fortunate enough to enjoy that beauty amongst us. I call upon all of us who knew what it felt like to share and show those who were not lucky to witness that era what it feels like to belong, to be one.
The UDP leader also reminded Gambians the importance of celebrating independence.
Today, I want to remind us all of the struggle our fathers and forefathers waged for us to be where we are now. to remind us of the strong message that is emboldened in our national anthem, a message that should remind each and every one of us in our every thinking moment what the Gambia, our homeland, is and should mean to us. The words that all may live in unity, freedom and peace each day. The words, let justice guide our actions towards the common good.
Dabo also said that a UDP government will bring that sense of patriotism and oneness in the society. He also promised that there will be zero tolerance for tribal, ethnic, and religious division. According to him, tribalism has no place in the country and people should not allow anyone to use tribalism to draw religious boundaries in the country and communities. Dabo urged Gambians to sensitize and educate their offsprings and their fellow brothers and sisters on moral obligations as patriotic citizens. Reporting for iAfrica TV, Binta Jallo.
That was the United Democratic Party's Usainu Dabo reaffirming his party's commitment towards national development. Now that's all we have for you in today's edition of Gambia24. I am your presenter Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching and do have a good night.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none.